Audio check, mic test. Mic test 1, 2, sound check. Audio check, mic test. Let's get that key. Mic test. Mic test 1, 2, sound check. I'm Jumbo, brothers and sisters. I'm happy to be here this evening, and I'm glad to see those of you who are here to remember a fallen brother, one who has been integral to the life of Guyana and other parts of the world in so many ways. Tonight I'll be sharing the program with Sister Jem Marcus. It's not a pretty formal program. we want to apologize first of all for the people who came at 5. Like Dr. Hines was telling me, we said 5, we expect them to come for 6, but they still got people who are going to turn up on time. So those who are here from 5 o'clock, our apologies. And we know that getting from Georgetown to Buxton from 2:30 coming on to the evening, it's pretty difficult. So people may still be on the way. Pastor Terry, you're not going to church tonight. I'm not waiting for you there. Hopefully not, right? But thanks for being here, and all the others, Mr. Paris and all of you. Sister Jem, you may we start with a prayer. Pastor Terry will pray for us, and then the program is not formal, so it's not structured. You are here to share your own experiences of meeting and knowing Dr. Roopnaraine. So to begin, we'll have the formal opening and with a prayer from Pastor Terry. Thank you, drummers, for your real powerful drumming.
Thank you very much. All protocols observed. Can we agree in prayer? Praise God. Eternal Father and God, I come to you in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord, giving you all the honor, the glory, the praise, and the thanks, for you are the Most High God, and there is no other God besides you. We thank you for life. Thank you for health and strength. Thank you, Lord God, that we can come together to celebrate the life of another human being who has made contributions to this community and to this nation, Father. We pray, oh God, that you will grant us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as we express ourselves, so that, Lord God, you will have the honor and the glory. So take all the praise and the thanks. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. And my apologies, Bishop Terry Thomas. I'm taking you down the ladder there. Sister Jem, your introductory remarks.
Yes, tonight. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank you for coming out here this evening to celebrate the life of Dr. Rupert Roopnaraine, a man that loved Buxton, dwelled in Buxton, spent most of his time, and any okay you call him, he's always here. So we take the time off tonight to celebrate it in Buxton. We were at the crematorium Sunday and give him a send-off. So we decided to come here and celebrate. So this evening, just sit back and relax. We are there with you.
All right. So the floor is going to be open. You come, you share your experiences. I know for a fact that Buxton could not have allowed the passing of Dr. Roopnaraine to just be a ceremony at the Rupert crematorium, because here was his dwelling place. You would have listened to folks who spoke at the funeral about him being here. Brother Wazir said at 2 o'clock in the morning, he would say, you're up, let me go to Buxton. You know, and Brother UC's home was where all these meetings took place. Brother UC was a man who never really slept. I don't know how he does it, but he can work all night, and then the next day seems as though it was just normal to him. I don't know if Dr. Hines has that kind of stamina. He didn't teach you how to do that. Yeah, but meetings were held at the home there at all hours, and Dr. Roopnaraine would have been integral to the life of Buxton, and whenever he came, it was just as if he were at home, all right? Because he had ingrained himself into Buxton. And I see many of the people, Brother, oh boy, Fitzroy would have been part of that movement. So anyone who wants to share, Mr. Alexander would have been working with Dr. Roopnaraine when he was minister at the Minister of Education, and Ras Tom was telling me only the other day about his own experience at Queen's College with Dr. Roopnaraine. So we have people here who have shared in his life and who can express themselves and let the world understand that an icon has been taken to the great beyond. So anyone who wants to share can come forward. The drums can just, as people come, you know, we just.
Good evening, all protocols observed. I think that Dion has put me on the spot, not that I didn't intend to speak, but certainly didn't intend to speak first. In putting me on the spot, he indicated that I work with Dr. Roopnaraine. But I want to say that this evening, we have someone here who will speak on behalf of those of us who worked with Dr. Roopnaraine. Dr. Roopnaraine was such a person that, though he moved on from the ministry and has now moved on from this earthly plane, there were those whom he brought together who have stayed together and therefore will represent him even on this occasion. But I want to speak from a personal perspective. I had the privilege of working with Dr. Roopnaraine on two occasions, two extended occasions. The first one was constitutional reform. 1999, we worked up to about 2001. And the second one was when he became the Minister of Education. When I worked with him from sometime in 2017 on to the end of his tenure at the ministry. And working with him is what would occasion me to want to speak here this evening. In constitutional reform, much of the work that we did was in a subcommittee. We worked in the general reform body, but we ended up in a subcommittee looking at the question of local government. And I found that on that question, myself and Rupert were at Edom. We shared the same ideas and worked towards achieving the same objective. On high on that agenda for us was the reintroduction of village councils. That's what we really worked for, among other things. We got partial achievement in that if anybody pays attention to the Constitution, you will see that the Constitution specifies that village councils can be reintroduced in this country at the behest of the people. So the Constitution did not itself re-establish village councils, but it provided a mechanism for communities, if they care to call for the establishment of village councils. I don't think that the governments of the days follow through on that by actually articulating the mechanism in law. But the Constitution does say that such councils can be established at the behest of the people. There is something important and critical about the fact that Rupert Roopnaraine championed that. When you talk about village councils, you're really talking about the historical villages that were created by our ancestors. You're really talking about the villages that were inhabited by people of African descent. And here was Rupert Roopnaraine of Indian descent in the forefront for the reintroduction of those village councils. And I think that that speaks to who Rupert was. Rupert was someone who was in some regards an appreciated the history of this country, respected the various groups in this country, saw what they were entitled to, and fought for it, doing so for the people of African descent, although he himself was not of African descent. In that regard, he was a true Guyanese, but a Guyanese who understood our diversity, respected our diversity, and sought to give meaning to that diversity in various ways. And one such way was the reinstitution of village councils. Because the idea behind that was that people of African descent, among others, should have control of the villages to which they belong, have control of villages which will be bequeathed to them, and be able to make decisions about the public affairs of and for those villages. That was the idea. Empowerment of the people of African descent. Recognizing what has happened with our ancestral lands and working towards putting in place a mechanism to recapture control over those ancestral lands. Because through the system of local government, in some regards, and the attitude of governments, we have lost control over those lands. And if you lose control over the lands, you've really lost to a large extent your grounding, your identity, your being. And so in that regard, he was seeking to assist in the process of the renaissance of the African person in Guyana. And he has to be acknowledged for that effort and for that contribution. I also had the opportunity, as I said earlier, of working with Rupert in the Ministry of Education. And it was interesting how that came about. I retired from the university in 2014 and had no interest in full-time employment, none whatsoever. I retired and I was to do my own thing, but not have an 8-to-4 job. And so one morning, my phone rang. And who was it? Rupert Roopnaraine. He said, Vincent. I said, yes, Rupert. He said, the Russians come in to have a conversation with me today. I know you study in Russia, so you got to know the system. Come down and join me in the meeting. that suggests that we had built up a certain level of respect for each other and acknowledgement of probably qualities that he would do that. So I went to the meeting. We met the Russians and we talked about education, and the meeting was over and I'm about to leave. He says, don't go anywhere yet. I said, so why not? He said, Vincent, I want you to work with me. I said, Rupert, we're looking for work. I have no interest in a 8-to-4 job. He said, man, you gotta work with him, man. I want you to work. I want you to help me in this ministry. I said, Rupert, all right. I'm prepared to help you this week. If you have projects, I can help you with the projects. I ain't got to come into this office. You just tell me what the project is. And from home, I could do whatever and lend advice and assistance. And he said, all right, we can work with that. So I had to go in to discuss, modalities of that working. And whilst we were discussing those modalities, somebody asked him, so you got Alexander here now, what he doing here? What is he responsible for? And to my astonishment, Rupert told the person, Vincent, he in everything he took me out of projects and put me in everything. And gradually it became a situation where I was going to work at the Ministry of Education, working with my good friend. People called me his advisor. I wasn't formally his advisor, because somebody else was his advisor appointed by government. But they found the nomenclature for me. I think they called me technical facilitator. And I worked with him thereafter in the Ministry of Education. That allowed me to see another aspect of the report. And again, his Guyanese being. One of the things Rupert did from the very inception was a question of prayers in school. Oh, that's a big thing in Guyana. That's a big thing in Guyana. And I think if I'm not mistaken, he himself wrote an interdenominational prayer and said, in this country, you got Afro-Guyanese, Indo-Guyanese, Chino-Guyanese, Poto-Guyanese, Amur-Guyanese, mixed Guyanese. You got Christians, Hindus, Muslims, Baha'i, Rasta. We cannot impose on a classroom a Christian prayer as had been the tradition. But we know Guyanese like prayer. And we know that there is an Almighty. In some regards, it's expressed in the Constitution, the part which he also wrote, the preamble. Let us get a prayer that everybody could say and feel happy with. And he introduced that prayer in our school system. I hope it is still being used. I don't know, I hope. He also had a tremendous interest in culture and recognized indigenous culture, if you may call the steel band that. But the trainees might say it's not indigenous to us, it's to them. But he ensured that we embarked on a program to have a steel band in every school in this country, every secondary school in the first instance. And so we started There were schools that had steel bands, but now it became a policy that we will have a steel band in every school. So the Guyanese children will be able to be involved in music, and the indigenous music. They can go beyond that. But let's have something Guyanese, because he saw music from various perspectives. He saw music as very, very critical in the development of one's intellect, on one hand. But he also saw music in terms of the development of one's appreciation, because music is a form of expression of what's in the society. And so he worked assiduously to have music be introduced in our schools using the steel band. This is not an exclusion of drums, using the steel band. And so there again, you saw the Roopnaraine, who, though he was Indo-Guyanese, which he was very proud of, being a Guyanese in totality and being able to embrace not only the Indian aspect of things, but the African aspect of things, and I dare say the Guyanese aspect of things. Working with Rupert allowed me to have a lot of conversations that allowed me to see the real man. To see the real man. Some of the things that he said in those conversations, I will not repeat. But I'll repeat one. I'll repeat one. Rupert said to me, if he ever had a regret in life, he regretted that when Lyndon Fobb Sampson Burnham, upon his return to Guyana, sent for him to have a conversation, that he refused to engage Burnham in that conversation. Rupert said that to me. He said that was a mistake that he made. And that confession is manifest in a number of ways. We all know how active Rupert was in the WPA. And at that time, could have been described as an arch enemy of the PNC. But that Rupert transitioned from an arch enemy of the PNC to being an APNU suggested that he was someone who did a lot of retrospective and introspective. He always looked back to see how things had evolved and whether how they had evolved were the manner that was best. And if he came to the conclusion it wasn't the best manner, he was prepared to adjust and to respond to realities. And that's a fantastic quality that most politicians do not have. The quality of being able to say, I was wrong. I should probably have done it this way. And to say it also publicly, to admit publicly. And Rupert was one who did that. He exhibited that human quality, that original human quality, which if we embrace, would make such a big difference to us as individuals, and I dare say, to our country. It would make a big difference to our country. It's a kind of quality that would lend us, move us in the direction of unity oneness in terms of a sense of purpose. Because Rupert dedicated his life to Guyana. He was someone who was sufficiently qualified, sufficiently recognized that he could be taken up anywhere in the world for employment, an experience which he had. But he left all of that behind to come back to the motherland to contribute to the growth and development of this nation. We don't have very many of those. Because even in the instance where others have done it, they have not been able to introspect and retrospect and move forward in the way in which Rupert Roopnaraine introspected, retrospected, and then sought to move forward with ideas that he thought would take Guyana forward. And so as we gather here today, tonight, to pay tribute, it may well be tokenism, unless our tribute is a real appreciation of the man, Rupert Roopnaraine. And that real appreciation can only come from an understanding of the man and from a commitment to continue the work that he began. If we come here tonight because Rupert was a nice guy and friend and like him, and we're not really prepared to reflect, and ourselves to introspect, and to move forward thereafter, then we are not sincerely paying tribute to Rupert Roopnaraine. And therefore, for me, tonight, separate and apart from these oral, verbal tributes, it's an opportunity for us to really ask ourselves, do we appreciate the person Rupert Roopnaraine? And if we appreciate him, that appreciation has to be best expressed in the way in which we associate ourselves with his thoughts and his works and his vision for Guyana. Thank you.
Just that's it.
Good evening. I hope I don't embarrass myself a little bit. But I was searching my phone for a little bit. And let me say that when I got news of Rupert's passing, two things came to mind. First of all, I was at school with Rupert in the 1950s at Queen's College. And we were 13-year-old boys, 14-year-old boys, you know. And I'm going to ask you for something just now. And I remember one morning before the tuck shop break, Brian Rodway walking down the corridor recited I tear my shirt and make it a banner for the revolution. And we will go to the tuck shop with that couplet. I tear my shirt and make it a banner for the revolution. Well, Rupert was, I saw Rupert one day at Waterloo Station in London, because in the 60s we were in London, okay? And he was just, or imitated the dress of Che Guevara. I remember seeing him at Waterloo Station. We had a gaff of this. Of course, it was the days of the Cuban Revolution. So first of all, I don't want to embarrass myself, because when I went to the funeral on Sunday, when I went to the funeral on Sunday, I walked to the poems of resistance, which I've had mostly since the 1950s, heaven knows, okay? And I wish someone would have recited a banner for the revolution. Does anyone here remember that poem? Or could find it and read it for me or tonight? I wish we had a night of poetry reading and things like, because Rupert liked poetry, and I know of some evenings where he read poetry, right? The other thing I remembered when I got the news of Waters actually I was in the hospital about a month ago, and I ran away from death. I could have had a heart attack. Anyhow, and it seems to have affected me mentally. But the other thing is that there was a poem. There was Philip Moore's Jumbie Wedding at the Castellani House, and Rupert did a review of that. And after I read it, I went to Castellani House to look at Philip Moore's Jumbie Wedding. I wonder if many of you have seen Jumbie. I think it's one of the greatest paintings in Guyana. And I could only say the PV pull it down, okay? But because of Roopnaraine, of Rupert, I went to visit the Castellani House and view Jumbie Wedding. And I hope that now that I've spoken, a few people will try to get off Oheni, yes, and ask him about Jumbie Wedding, and I wish they could go on display. For me, Jumbie Wedding is like the famous painting of the Mona Lisa in Paris. You know, it is one of the greatest paintings I've seen. Who can I hope some see it? But it's Rupert's review of it that made me go to see Jumbie Wedding. So I can't be too long. See, my mind is where it is. But if I can hear a few poems, particularly a banner for the revolution, and from anyone here that can read it, I'll be very happy. That's what I came for. Bye-bye. Thanks.
All right, so thank you very much, Rastom Dalgety, for your little talk about your experience with Dr. Roopnaraine. We have Dr. Eichel in the house, and Tom did say he wanted some poetry, but Doc may not be doing Martin Carter, but he's a poet himself, so we can call on him now to do some of his stuff.
Thank you. Okay. It's actually not a poem. It's part of a short story. There's a book I wrote a couple of years ago, and I'll do an excerpt from one of the short stories in the book. The name of the short story is Black Man Cully. In Buxton, they called him Black Man Cully, for no one knew his name or cared to know it for that matter. That wasn't how Buxton was or is. In Buxton, they christened and they named you. And that was simply that. And that was the name that they gave to him. He had no say in it. Almost everybody had a false name in Buxton. It was a rite of passage of sorts, though some like Wallababy, Eshem, Poch, and Shetkog never appreciated it. They took extreme exception to it. And false names evolve, for they are alive. They live and breathe in the lives of the people they represent. Long names are abbreviated and truncated for convenience. And so his name became Kole, straight Kole, the way Shetkog became Kog. He responded to Kog, but he only responded to Shetkog if you buy a quarter. But then it was another matter. They called him Black Man Kole because he was as much black man as he was Kole. He was as much cook up and metaji as he was dal and rice and roti and curry. He lived in both worlds and understood and appreciated both worlds. He knew Kwekwe and Nancy as well as he knew Jandy and Dick Dotty. He lived seamlessly in that space, in and in between them. So he had a perspective, a singular something that was as unique as it was interesting. He had a window to both worlds. His feet were firmly planted on both properties, and he had the capacity to shift as he pleased. His perspective was singular, for he had one, the other, and a third, which was a meeting and melding of both, which essentially was neither. They called him Black Man Kole, for he was Indian, but he had an enduring connection to Buxton. He was born in Annandale, which was a predominantly Indian village, but he grew up in Buxton. From sunup to sundown, Buxton was his tongue. As a child, there was something about the village that called him and kept calling him. There was a vibe, a rhythm to the village that he always felt, but could never name. It had a personality, a way of being even. He felt it. He felt it in the aromas of fresh baked bread and black pudding on Saturdays, and the hubbub of church goers on Sundays. He saw it in the faces of the friends he made, and he heard it in the joy of the voices in the games that they played. And he always wondered if Realaro de facto Buxtonians felt it, for they were it. They were its heartbeat. And you don't feel your heartbeat unless something is out of whack, like when you're having a heart attack. Sort of like the way a fish is not aware of water until it is outside of it. But he felt it. He felt the throbbing of its heartbeat from the streets that were empty late at night. Its presence was always there in the stillness. And so, yes, he roamed the village day or night, drunk or sober, without any bother. For all knew him. Every man, every woman, and every picnic knew Black Man Kole, for he was Black Man Kole, for he was Buxtonian, the way Cleavage and the banner of Rupchan was Buxtonian. And even in times of discord or of confusion and of tension between blacks and Indians, like during every election, he still showed up in Buxton. And he always carried himself like he belonged, for he belonged. Thank you.
Tribute. Okay.
All right. I think that was absolutely fitting. Report, buddy. Black Man Kole. Nice way to put it, but that epitomizes everything that was Dr. Rupert Roopnaraine. All right, so I think the clique of the ministry is now going to be represented.
Hi, good night, everyone. Thank you for having me. So before I read representation from the collective of the persons that work with Dr. Roopnaraine at the Secretariat, I'd first like to say on my behalf. I had the privilege of starting to work with Dr. Roopnaraine when I was very young. I'm a little old now. Well, a lot older now. But I started work with him when I was very young. And I continued working with him throughout the years, various organizations. And I was blessed with the opportunity to learn from him. He had a genuine heart. And the genuine heart that he had was demonstrated through the way he worked, the way he loved and cared for all people in everything that he did. And it has had an influence on my life in the way that I operate personally, but more especially professionally, in the way I lead others and the way I manage. So for that, I'll always extend the greatest gratitude to Dr. Roopnaraine for that, and he will be deeply missed. So the words that I read now will represent the words from the Secretariat. We were the Secretariat of Minister Roopnaraine, the 4 A's, Alexander, Amanda, Andrea, and Diana, and Ms. Cheryl Sampson. We were all chosen by him to work with and for him. We represented a mosaic of ethnic, gender, and generational diversity. His construction of the mosaic reflected what he stood for: respect for ethnic diversity, gender equity, and age differentiation. He embraced the humanist world outlook. He brought us together, a microcosm of Guyana's demography, and molded us into an efficient and effective team. We became an organic, multi-ethnic, gender-balanced, and generally dispersed family under his tutelage. He was our father figure by virtue of his persona, ideals, praxis, and mentorship. We may not have known him personally for as long as many others, albeit for some our association predated our engagement in his secretariat. However, we certainly came to know the true person through manifestation in our unique relationships, daily interaction, and his relationship with the broader community that he worked with and or served. He was a gem of a human being. He was gentle but stern, servant leader who whimsically demanded no less of us than he was prepared to give in service to the nation, a nation that he truly served. He was selfless in service and led by precept and example. He was a patriot who placed Guyana and its working people first. He was naturally brilliant and committed scholar who used his brilliance and scholastic skills to unearth and proselytize the truth in the interest of human development. He was iconic in the deployment of his talents and skills. As one of the people, his sole objective was the people's development. The nation has lost a valued patriot, and we have lost our father figure, mentor, and friend. May his soul departed experience eternal peace in reward for a life well lived. Thank you.
We're Buxton Pride ready for us. Buxton Pride. It's not quite ready. Someone want to say something? Okay.
Jumbo.
Jambo.
I was fortunate of reaching this great man in the late 80s. And subsequently, I spent 11 days at his home on the east coast of the Demerara that he was constructing. And I can tell you all, in 3 words: simple, smooth, stern. That was the man. Brilliant son of the soil. Philosopher, educator. I learned so much from him. And 83 years is a long, long time. So I tell you in poem about time. Now the battle is not for the strong, nor the rest for the swift, but for those all away who can endure it through these times. Fire red. Life dread. Yes, time is tough. Time fiery, fiery, fiery. Man, you have to have faith. Time like banga smoke inside the eyes. Time like boiled pepper, hot like fire. Time done like beer cow milk when it gets sour. Time makes strong man stretch your hand up the Savior. Time make weak man stretch out the palm. Time make parrot shut him out. Time make dummy start for shout fire red. Life dread. Yes, time is tight. Time fiery, fiery, fiery. Now have to have faith. Time make woman the inequality race. Time make picnic wear serious face. Time make Dr. Rupert Roopnaraine return to base. Time make King UC Kwayana still setting the pace. Time make East Indian get black. Time make Chinese stop their cook shop. Time make Americans traffic cop. Time make Portuguese shut down the jewelry shop. Time make Bakra eat their back. Time make Rasta eating calabash. Time make Jaja Seti watch. And to the children, his children, my father is a man as strong as can be. He cares for brothers, sisters, and yours truly. He took a lady. She made a baby. Together they raised a family. What a wonderful counselor telling us of life in stories. Even keeps his cool when neighbors cause his worries. Now I'm grown, aspiring to be man. I strive to be as father as hard as I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Hope. Thank you. Hello? Thank you, Jerry. Okay, let's get some drums. Let's please the ancestor. Let me get some drums and table port. Come on, let me get some drums.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those who were part of the struggles of the 80s would know that whenever Sister Karen got on stage, oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
people's power.
No dictator.
That was the chant. I mean, I was a youth man.
People's power, no dictator.
I was a youth man them time there, but the line top was the place, where the speeches were made and you were totally taken in, you know, when Sister Bonita got up to speak, when Sister Karen, you see young people, Brother Jai Parasram, and you see, it's where them people just come out by how they could talk so, right? I mean, it was so, when I see my good friend in Parliament, hey, don't disrespect the bishop, you know. That is the great bishop. But we still have that kind of oratory in Parliament and so on, and it's good when young people can see people delivering themselves like that. I think it gives them a sense of, because we're losing so much of our understanding of how to speak. You listen to the radio now, you want to know whether it's a backyard affair. I went into radio, and you were basically, you had to be scrutinized. Your language and everything had to be intact. Your voice, it seems as though they just go to the corner these days, pick up a man, maybe because he's popular, and dash in radio. So one radio announcer would say, "This is the most beautiful country I ever seen." I put it on Facebook, and I was called, you know, Sebigawa Brady, because he's a popular DJ, and the DJs are now running radio in Guyana. So our language is being bastardized. Thank you very much, drummers. We have the steel band, Buxton Pride Steel Orchestra, and they're going to give us some music.
And we will continue the tributes after. Thank you, Buxton Pride. Thank you. We now have Brian Chester to say it. He's here. Brian. Right. Brian Chester. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So Brian Chester is he okay? He'll be doing some Nancy. So Brother Ganesh, we want to welcome you to Buxton, and we hope that you become a Buxton Kuli. Black man Kuli. You weren't there when the poem was read, right? The reading was done, but it spoke about the relationship of a man who grew up in Annandale, was of Indian descent, but because he was so ingrained in Buxton, they gave him the name Black Man Kuli. All right? I've interacted with the PNC and I know you've done reach the level already. Right? Yeah. And I acknowledge the presence here, your friend.
And I acknowledge this time, Sister Bonita. We acknowledge you in the work. Yeah, we worked together for years in the struggle for justice. Yeah, we worked together for years. Sister Bonita, Rupert, the length and breadth of Guyana, we worked, quarantine, we worked for this for justice. And I think that I'm here still. I could celebrate his life, and my son got father. So we worked together, and the voice ringing my ears right now. He's saying, but he said, Jem, keep the little boy near to me. And I never had the opportunity for my son to grow up around him. And a Sunday when I sat there, I tears flowed in my eyes because I remember his words. Keep the little boy near to me, is God's son. But as time goes on and different things happen, I go different directions. So I didn't get quite close to him. But that's my friend. He was real nice to me in all aspects. And I grew up around him and he taught me a lot. And I thank God that I was there. Just give him a send off. So, next speaker.
We also want to acknowledge yes, our brother Malcolm Paris and Sister Eve Blackman. Malcolm is our elder now. Yes, boxman to the bone, right? Man, the Marby that your mother used to make had a special kind of flavor. Yeah. I don't taste Marby like that. I gotta come by you and let you teach me out. What she used to put inside.
That was my
Good
friend.
night. As an elder citizen of Buxton, it would have been a sin if I didn't get up this evening to offer our condolences. That's my twin brother and myself, our condolences to the family of Brother Rupert Roopnaraine. As Brother Abrams has been saying, I lived on the top of the Buxton Bagdam side. Bagdam side is where Brother Baba UC Koyana lived. And so when Brother Rupert was going to visit Baba UC, he had to pass my place. And we would greet each other and so on. Life is interesting. And I would say that for some time I served as an senior worker in the People's National Congress. At a time when there was serious disagreement between the Working People's Alliance and the People's National Congress. But the Rupert and I used to meet sometimes on social occasions. And one thing he always said to me was, you know, when all these things ended, we have to produce a Guyana of united people. You know, more than once he used to say so to me. And I recall that, yes, when the PNC and WPA formed the alliance, the APNU, Brother Rupert and I were we were picketing at the Elections Commission. And Brother Rupert was sitting on a car, the bonnet of a motor car. And he turned to me, a couple of us were there on the motor car. And he said, you know, imagine, a Kuliman, since I know I'm a Kuliman, and the sand-ons, you know, are supposed to be bright. But I can't convince 4 other Kulimen to live with me. And then between all these black people, and I can't get 4 Kulimen to believe me when I talk, when I said that we have a right to be picketing Election Commission. I found Brother Rupert, as people like Professor Hines would say, a very talented person. A very, he never, the little I and had to do with him, he would never speak rudely to you. He would correct you in a very, very acceptable way. You know, he exchanged views with you as if he respected you. Today, the University of Guyana honored Clive Thomas, Dr. Clive Thomas, a fellow activist of Brother Rupert. Today, the University of Guyana honored him. And last Sunday, we said goodbye to Brother Rupert. And tomorrow, the Guyana is among the countries of this area that will be going to Mar-a-Lago to meet the President of the United States of America. And I ask myself, you know, what have we done that we could not have people like Dr. Rupert and Professor Clive Thomas representing us at such an occasion? You know, those minds are minds which contributed so much to the thinking, not only of Guyana, but of the Caribbean. And we must sadly say goodbye to Brother Rupert. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Nancy, Story, Brian, Manchester.
Nancy. 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 Well, them say Nancy story again no bad word, but too much bad word can use. But you must for express how deep things does affect you. So you got to pelt out some of them, Levi just call them, pelt them out. With a little rascal and what more. Nancy! Nancy! Well, everybody there right now, right? Everybody or knew about the death of Dr. and Brother Rupert Roopnaraine. So some of us who knew him, who are here, and some don't know, but still people doesn't believe that, yes, this great man has gone beyond, but he left a legacy, a very much deep legacy within all who knew him, within all race, all kind you could think of. That was Brother Rupert. So some of them believe and some don't believe. But if they think I lie, for me, come see. If you think I lie, 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 Nancy! Nancy! Well, over the years, them always want to know where the most brilliant set of people come from, the most educated set of people come from. But even though Brother Rupert, not a Buxtonian, I can't really say, but I think so. I know it from somewhere in Michael, that area, right? But I would say that he's a Buxtonian because the amount of things that he brings to Buxton, education-wise, culture-wise, that was Dr. Rupert. Who don't know, don't know. In every activity, that was Dr. Rupert in Buxton. So we have lost a great son of the soil, and to his relatives, family, I would say my condolences to everyone. Nancy! 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 Hey, Rupert gone, Rupert gone, Rupert got to go for John. Rupert got to go for John. Please tell me where Rupert gone. Please tell me where Rupert gone.
Rupert got the cook on top.
Oh, Rupert just a penny all in one.
Rupert got the cook on top.
Oh, Rupert just a penny all in one.
Rupert got the cook on top.
Go for John, John, John. Rupert
Got the cook on top.
go for John, John, John. Rupert.
Got the cook on top.
Please tell me where Rupert gone.
Rupert got the cook on top.
Please tell me where Rupert gone.
Rupert got the cook on top.
Go for John, John, John. Rupert.
Got the cook on top.
Go for John, John, John. Rupert.
Got the cook on top.
Oh, please tell me where Rupert gone. Oh, Rupert, just up in the all in one. Oh, Poof and John, John, John. Oh, Poof and John, John, John. Please tell me where Rupert gone. Oh, please tell me where Rupert gone. Oh, Poof and John, John, John. Rupert. Oh, Poof and John, John, John. Please tell me where Rupert gone. Please tell me where Rupert gone. Oh, Rupert gone, gone, gone. Rupert gone, gone, gone. Nancy, Nancy, Nancy. Even though our brother is from a different ethnicity, the truth is and the fact is that what he has brought to our community and communities around is very much enormous. So at this stage, to know that a humble being like Brother Rupert has gone beyond, we must, and I want to raise all the ancestors' blood now. He is amongst us at this moment, because the blood that he's carrying not only flow here, it flow right through all of us veins. All of us for his contribution. So, we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in our hearts, we do believe that we shall overcome someday. The truth shall set you free. The truth shall set you free. The truth shall set you free.
Thank you very much for your hosting and your answer story. We're going to take Brother Dr. Open stage, and then we're going to ask our parliamentarian, the man who asks questions that he can't answer, to come and to talk about Brother Dr.
Jungle brothers and sisters, on behalf of the Working Teachers Alliance, we're grateful that so many of you have took time to come to this activity to celebrate the life of beloved brother, comrade, and teacher, Dr. Rupert Roopnaraine. I speak to you as a person who was associated with Dr. Roopnaraine from the time we arrived in this country, a period that lasted about 2 years. I speak to you as a person Dr. Rupert Roopnaraine and Brother Clive Thomas for many decades as the two co-leaders of our party. I speak to you as a person who have had the opportunity to replace our co-leaders. I myself have become a co-leader. Dr. David Hines has become a co-leader. And Brother Rohit Kanai. The WPA report have built to see the transition of the WPA leadership to another generation of Ghanaians, political activists, and members and soldiers of the Working People's Alliance. I know because it's beyond satisfied that the party to which he has given his entire life is still here today, wounded but not defeated. Many have written us off as dead for many decades, but every time they write us off, it is rise again. And I remember when Walter Rodney died, our slogan was "Don't mourn, organize." And at that time, the country was in a period of high upheaval, political tension. Thousands of people in the streets of Georgetown carrying water to the Laventier Cemetery. I, a WPA activist, could not even get close to the coffin. The body of humanity, the thousands of ordinary people dominated the show. And the players were going to rest. And it is important for me to say a few things, because a country cannot move forward unless it has a proper appreciation of its history, even when elements of that history may not be tasteful for many persons. I remember when Walter was assassinated, there was a big debate going on quietly in political circles as to whether, and in the African circle, it was whether this Indian man would abandon what he did and run away. And in the Indian circles, in the PPP and the Indian circles, there was hope that Rupert will leave the country and to create a situation where the PPP is much more relief, because there is not a competitor in the Indian people team for the attention and the support of the Indian masses. But Rupert Roopnaraine was under tremendous pressure, as expected, by his relatives and his family abroad, and people, well-wishers in Guyana, to leave, because then Guyana had became a dangerous place. And indeed, Guyana was a dangerous place. As a human being, Brother Rupert must have had his doubts, because it was an important and a critical decision. But ultimately, whatever was his reservations, if there were any, he decided to stay. And he decided to stay in order to continue the struggle that we started, and in order to give the movement a chance of continuation. And many persons have said that when Walter died, the WPA died. But the truth of the matter is that it's after Walter's death and the WPA became, in a real way, a political party before we was what you want to call a pressure group. And it's in that period, in the absence of what Rupert emerged as a tower of strength. He played a major role in building the party organizationally across the country. He played a major role in strengthening the ideological discussions and the internal organization of the party. His activism stretched probably was 45 to 50 years, was probably 7 years. So in a real way, what the WPA became after the death of Walter Rodney, whatever contributions we made to the country after the death of Walter Rodney, in a big way, Rupert Roopnaraine played a major role. And we in the WPA stand proud as our comrade, as our co-leader, and stand tall over those many decades. It was never all nice. It was a long period of pain, political pain. I know Rupert was, as all of us in the WPA, was disappointed after the 1992 elections. In 1992, there was a debate going on in the country as to whether to win those elections. Some people felt we could win the elections, but I'm going to tell you that internally to the WPA, our expectation was not to win the elections, but to do extremely well. I remember when you see Guyana speaking to some of us after Walter made a statement that the elections really is a fight between he and Dr. Jabba. Rihanna told us that that statement will polarize the country and polarize the elections. And when I came and we went to the polls, a lot of expectation that unity of the African Indians that was fashioned before Walter came back, after Walter came back, after his assassination, that all those years of work would have bring a meaningful dividend with democracy, racial harmony, and the liberation of the Ghanaian people. Anyone who studied the history of revolutions, and we have no pain to say that the WPA from its inception saw itself as a revolutionary party. But we understood that ultimately it is the people who make the revolution. And when the votes were counted in 92, the Ghanaians, masses, both African and Indians, retreated to the historic racial parties. They refused to make the revolution. And we have had to live with that consequence. Perhaps the only bright spot of that period was the indigenous people. The WPA was only able to get meaningful votes apart from Buxton in the hinterland among the indigenous people. So in racial or ethnic terms, the WPA was abandoned by Africans and abandoned by Indians. And so the indigenous people who came to the rescue and helped us get into the parliament and give us a chance to have some political life after those elections. And I know Rupert was very sad, and all of us was very sad. But as we said, revolutions are made by the people. And when the people sustain the revolution, you be the revolutionaries or the political activists has nothing else to do but to work and to wait to see when the people will be ready to make the revolution. And many of the issues that confronted the WPA, Walter Rodney, Brianna, Moses Babwan, Benita Harris, Karen D'Souza, Andaye, Joshua Sami, Horace Cole, Bobo Wali, and I can keep mentioning names after names. These issues that we try to deal with in a real way, much of it is us. We were here that we were fighting for terrorism and attempted dictatorship. Today we are fighting dictatorship, and we are fighting the worst form of dictatorship, and a dictatorship supported by trillions of dollars from the oil. And then we reflected on the early days of the 70s and the 80s, and even the 90s. We are convinced that the country is in the worst state politically. The country is the worst state in terms of race relations. And the country is in a dangerous state with a young population that has no history of struggle. The majority of our young people, Africans and Indians, have no concrete involvement in any multiracial struggle, of any truly patriotic struggle. They have been stripped of that possibility. And as I said, people who make the revolution, and the African young, and the African frustrated in the last elections spoke. And they spoke by withdrawing from the APNU, a political party that the WPA, Rupert Roopnaraine, and ourselves collectively and individually fought to make possible. But the frustration of our people, faced with a ruthless, vicious government who use victimization to fear, and who have had the history as being the most violent government in the history of the country, engaging in state extrajudicial killings that have driven a level of fear in the Ghanaian population across the board that we have not recovered from. And many of our political leaders have become tame, have become weak, have become intimidated by the unleash of the PPP viciousness. A different situation than what the was fighting. Burnham, in our view, was a dictator. Burnham regime was oppressive. But it was never oppressive to the extent of this PPP regime. And the Burnham regime, and the evidence of it is not our subjective judgment. The evidence of it is how Ghanaians respond on the Burnham. Our people were not that intimidated. We fought Burnham, coming the streets in thousands, and put tremendous pressure on Burnham and the PNC. Today, we are faced with a greater oppression, and our people are not willing to come in the streets. Our political leaders are not willing to take necessary risk in order to deal with this wickedness. So we are in a worse situation today. But we reflect on the passing of our comrade. It is important for us, as I said, to die. He said, don't mourn, organize. As I stand here before you tonight, we the WPA will say to you, mourn, because we have to mourn. But we will say, reorganize, rebuild. We have to build the movement that has opened the door for hope in this country. We have to rebuild the movement. Some hard questions to deal with. Unfortunately, these matters have been, in terms of the new WPA leadership, has to deal and engage in these matters. When we was fighting Burnham and the PNC, we were fighting in a situation where there was general consensus that elections are meaningless. Today, after the return of so-called fair and free elections in the country, we are in a situation where elections, again, is meaningless. A different context. No two historical periods are exactly the same. But the consequence could very well be the same. And we have to ask ourselves whether elections is of sufficient quality to ensure the direction of our country and the correction of historical injustices that have done to other people in the country. We have to ask ourselves whether the consensus that we struck at independence for a political system. We have to ask ourselves after decades of use of the system, whether that system ought to continue. And we, the Working People's Alliance, long came to the conclusion that if Guyana is to go anywhere, there has to be a unity of all our people. There could not be a liberation of the African people without the liberation of the Indian people. There could not be a liberation of the Indian people or the African people without the liberation of the indigenous people. That if Guyana independence is to have meaning, it has to correct historical injustices. And in the process of correcting historical injustice, we will be carving the real revolution and the liberation of our people. We in the Working People's Alliance have had the privilege to have among our ranks Professor Clive Thomas. And 3 years before Guyana brought up 1 barrel of oil, Brother Thomas taught us, lectures on the transformative nature of oil, that it will affect every area of the country and change the political landscape. The politics that we know yesterday will not be the politics in the new dispensation of oil and gas. So we, the Working People's Alliance, had the privilege to probably have a head start than other political parties' leadership on understanding and appreciating the challenges that all face to us. And as we reflect on the life of Dr. Rupert Roopnaraine, we have to ask ourselves whether we will allow oil to do to us what King Sugar had done to us. King Sugar have forced the country out of the hands of the indigenous people, confine them into the interior. King Sugar brought Africans as slaves, enslaved us for centuries. We got not a cent, no generational wealth. King Sugar brought indentured workers. King Sugar created the basis of the continuation of colonial dominance. And all the reflect on the condition of the Africans in a real way. It is a reflection of that historical reality. When you look at the condition of our indigenous people, it is a reflection of the historical reality. When you look at the condition of our Indian brothers and sisters, they are fortunate. They are fortunate to come after slavery. But they have an advantage of culture. They have benefited in some ways from the divide and rule tactics of the ruler. You have to divide them, you have to give some more privilege than others. But our brothers and sisters, Indian brothers and sisters, have made a tremendous contribution to the country, both economically, socially, and political leadership. But the time has come. From the PNC, we say dominate 28 years. We, the Working People's Alliance, for most of those years, fought the PNC. The time has come for the Indian Guyanese community to come to grips with this reality as to whether the PPP present leadership is driving the country to a point where we will reach a point of doomsday. History will tell you, you cannot have a country in which almost half of your population only probably own 10% of the wealth in the country. That is a recipe for trouble. I'm told I got to tie up, but I will tie up soon. That is a recipe for trouble. And I'm saying, as we remember Roopnaraine, we want to say to the Indian community, WPA stood with you when you claim that you were oppressed by the PNC and Burnham. We stood with you. We fought with you. We made tremendous sacrifice on your behalf. As Rupert would say, it is time for the Indians to do the same. It is time for the Indians to do the same. We are in a different period, but it is the duty of each and every community in our country to reflect upon the present, to begin to develop some vision of the future, and to engage in political and social activity that would attempt to make that future a possibility. We say, as a party, we say we are against domination of any racial group. We say that the liberation of Guyana has to be the liberation of all our people. We say that oil must correct historical injustices, and the consequences of injustice, historical injustice, is not the same. It is disproportionate among our people, and the correction has to be disproportionate. So in closing, I want to salute my comrade who is Richard. I want to urge you that it's pointless for us to come here and to speak glorious things about Rupert and don't recommit to the things that he feels very close to his mind, and that is the unity and the liberation of people. I want to end. Rupert lives. The struggle in the Guyanese live. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Kakuma will say, okay, brother. Ganesh.
Thank you very much. And protocol would dictate that I first acknowledge my fellow Member of Parliament, Dr. David Hines. But allow me to breach that protocol and acknowledge all our seniors here who possess a wealth of knowledge that I believe we are not utilizing enough. Inspirational to me staying in politics. And there are several evenings I would visit his office at the University of Guyana, and for hours we would talk politics. And Rupert Roopnaraine's name came up also during those discussions. And perhaps there are three things that I distinctly remember about Dr. Roopnaraine. The first was the 2011 elections. That is when I first met him properly. And we were campaigning together in those elections. And I remember we were looking for a slogan. You know, every election, you just got to have a catchy slogan so that people will reverberate and it will be the line that will carry you through. And I remember it was Rupert on stage at Coffee Square when we launched. As you will all remember, he was our prime ministerial candidate then. And Rupert said, in 1992, there was no place for Donald. 1997, no place for Donald. 2001, no place for Donald. 2006, no place for Donald. 2011, and everybody shouted, no place for Donald. Donald was the presidential candidate of the PPP. And that resonated in that 2011 campaign. And Rupert said that he actually coined that on stage whilst delivering his presentation. So I distinctly remember that about him. And Dr. Hines would tell you that I reminded all our other MPs of that particular story. The second thing I remember clearly about Dr. Roopnaraine, and again, Comrade Alexander can attest to this, is that there was a subcommittee of the University of Guyana Council when we were looking for a vice chancellor. And Dr. Rupert Roopnaraine was the opposition representative on that 5-member subcommittee. The others were Gail Teixeira, Odinga Lumumba, Melcita Boville, and myself. So although I'm not as old as I look, I did share some memorable times with the gentleman. And that 5-member committee was responsible for us to interview all the applicants, well, shortlist first, and then conduct interviews. I think we had interviewed 10 people, if I'm not mistaken. And in the grading scheme, we had the PPP side rooting for an Indian fella. I can't remember his name. I think his origin and his working ability and so on was associated with England, the United Kingdom. And the opposition side, and even though I was the student rep, I was really the opposition too, right? Because since then I was in the PNC. So Dr. Rupert and I, we were rooting for Rory Fraser. And the PPP side was rooting for this Indian fella that I can't remember his name. And in our grading scheme, the PPP side and Dr. Rupert and I, we all had at our number 2, Professor Jacob Oppadey. And that is how Oppadey became the Vice Chancellor for the University of Guyana. He was not selected as the first choice for anyone, but across the board, he had the second choice. And it was Gail Teixeira and Rupert Roopnaraine who said and agreed that since we found consensus over the number 2, and he was equipped with the academic achievement and all the other requirements at the time, let's agree to him. And that's how come he became the Vice Chancellor. The third thing I remember about Dr. Rupert Roopnaraine was we were coming down from Linden during a campaigning exercise, and we had in our company then PNCR member Richard Van West Charles. We also had Aubrey Norton, myself, and a couple others. And this fair-skinned man, Dio, I think is his name, that always would be with Rupert. And he was very pivotal, I remember, with Buxton and these African drums. And he was driving, and he was driving at a fast rate, and Rupert was in the front seat. I was in the back seat with somebody else, and the police stopped him. And that it was a Range Rover, if I'm not mistaken, or a Land Rover. One of them old-time strong donkey vehicle, you call it. Really strong vehicle. It was a grayish, brownish, I think it was gray, but a gray. So you see, I ain't lying. I know what talking. And the window was tinted. So when Dio rolled down the window, the police said you were speeding and your license and registration. And Aubrey came up from behind with his vehicle and stepped out and said, "Do you know who you have stopped there? That's the next prime minister of this country." And the police said, "Sorry, sir," and gave a salute. And we jumped in and we had a good laugh over it, and we proceeded our way. Dr. Rupert Roopnaraine was an inspiration to me, as I'm sure he was to many. And he demonstrated what it is to stay in politics in a group, even though you may be a minority. And he has been an inspiration for me because not only did we have a lot of conversation, but he has always told me one thing: what you believe in, fight for it, and stay focused, you will achieve it. I've never forgotten that. Another person of his caliber that I hold those similar discussions with, that is not with us anymore, is Winston Shripal Murray also. I also remember, this is the fourth one, I wasn't going to go to the fourth, but it just came to me, Dr. Hines, that in the 2011 elections, the APNU got 26 seats. And the AFC, I think, got 7. And that together is what gave the 33 the one-seat majority as an opposition, which Vincent Alexander again was very pivotal with. And I don't know if he remembers, but I was sitting in his office and we were talking about this thing, and he shared with me this mathematical calculation that gives the opposition one-seat majority. And I remember him saying how you could win more than 50% of the seat of the votes. How you could win more than 50% of the votes, but get less than 50% of the seats. And he was showing me the Jim Cockbring Ramboat maths that Gokul Budu wanted to bring up. And Vincent is a stalwart that we have to really hold in high regards for what he does for us at Become. And I am not talking good about him when he's not here. I'm talking good about him when he's here. That's how I believe we should do it. And when the 26 APNU got 26 seats, I was called, I remember vividly, and I came to the meeting that they had, and everybody was in Robert Corbyn's office, 5 or 6 people. Rupert was there also. And when they came out, I counted everybody who was there. I said, wow, get choose to go parliament in 2011, right? And I was counting everybody and I saw 28 people. And I know to myself, it's 26 seats they get. So 20 people doing here. The other one was Tabitha Sarabu Hali. And when we attended the meeting, the 26 were named as members of parliament, and myself and Tabitha Sarabu Hali were told that we will come in after 3 years to replace, at that time it was Christopher Jones and Annette Ferguson as the 2 young people that were going to parliament there in 2011. But of course, the way things worked out, we ended up with a no confidence motion 3 years after we went back to elections and so on. But I was given the responsibility of understudying Dr. Rupert Roopnaraine. I was told to go to the parliament, sit in the public gallery, observe, work, and learn from Dr. Rupert Roopnaraine. So I shared some good times with the gentleman, and he has always preached unity. He has always preached togetherness. He has always preached harmony. APNU is basically his baby. I don't know if many of us know that, but the name A Partnership for National Unity is really what he came up with, which was birthed out of the JOPP, the Joint Opposition Political Party. So Rupert is very close, or was very close, to the APNU. And I want to end by saying to every one of us here that if there is one way that we can honor Dr. Rupert Roopnaraine, is to stay and strengthen the APNU. Because the mission of the APNU, the philosophy, the birthing principle behind APNU is national unity. Something that he wanted. Is behind togetherness, something he wanted. And you know, again, I'm not as old as I look, but several young people, they tried a thing in the 2025 elections. They tried a thing And that thing that they tried have us where we are. And I'm saying to the young people here who are beating this drum, that the drum beating, as much as I enjoy it too, the feeling that you have towards it is deeper than enjoyment. Like for me, when I hear Indian songs too, the feeling that I have for it is deeper than enjoyment. And I'm saying that to say to you that APNU is grounded in principles, it is grounded in a mission, and it was carefully crafted for the betterment of Guyana. It is not a fly-by-night organization. It does not have fly-by-night politicians, and it does not have people who are looking for a savior, or for anybody to save them. It's not looking for a congregation to follow and to have strength. It is a strength by itself. So Buxtonians and non-Buxtonians who are here, if there's one way that we can honor Rupert, is to put us back where we are and make us even stronger in the name of APNU. Nobody else. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our parliamentarian Ghani. I will now have Brother Cecil Simon, who will deliver Brother UC's tribute to Dr. Rupert Roopnaraine.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. As Brother Abrams said, I'll be delivering Brother Easton's remark as part of his tribute. Did enjoy Brother Takuma Gunsera. That you won't remember me, but I've always been in the shadows, learning all the time. Anyway, this is Keith's tribute to Brother Roopnaraine. And those persons who might not be aware of who Keith is the administrator for the Buxton Friendship Museum, Archive and Culture Center, situated at 35 Edmund Ford Street, Buxton. And he's always a stickler as to where he came from. The Youngs, the Shorts, the Levi's, Holders, and many in the villages. Okay, so this is it. I write as a Buxtonian, and based on the time when Buxton was Buxton, during which we saw Rupert Roopnaraine's contribution in the villages and in the country as a whole. Rupert did not follow the general rule and principles of the Guyana race policies and politics, but saw all people as one, and as such joined with Walter Rodney, Baba UC Guyana, and others in the struggle for a new Guyana order for all people. Tonight, we use history to reflect on the past, to honor him, and join with others to express our condolences to his family and relatives. May he rest among our noble ancestors. Also, this is an opportunity for all to reflect, re-educate, and educate our children and grandchildren, to give back to society, and to make our villages, communities, and country which they are supposed to be. Our ancestors will be proud for all of their sacrifices. We can reflect on Martin Carter's poem, and I quote it as I leave you here. You are involved. I can remember listening to this poem done so powerfully by our brother here. Brother Abrams, you are involved. This I have learned. Today a speck, tomorrow a hero. Hero or monster, you are consumed. Like a dick shakes the loom, like a web is on the pattern. All are involved, all are consumed. Thank you very much.
My apologies. Brother Sai called this afternoon and I distinctly heard him say, Brother UC. Sister Bonita, you cannot come here and not say something. So, Sister Bonita Harris is an old fighter.
Good night, everybody. I didn't come to speak. I thought we were going to be dancing and listening to the music, and I hope we do that eventually. I don't want to say much. The one thing I do want to say is that, in the early days of the party, I was in the political education unit, and I used to work with party groups. We used to call them nuclei. There were 7 persons per group. I used to work on the Lower East Coast, and I worked in the current team. And I remember telling members then, so I'm talking about 70s, can't be on the street shouting, people's power, no dictator. And you're a dictator in your household. We don't use that anymore. So when Rupert heard what I was about, he said to me, very gently, Benita, if you tell people they can't be in this party, if they beat children, I can't stop you. But we will have no party. So all I really want to say here tonight is that if we want to raise a generation that is good, that has integrity, that is loving, that does not bully one another, does not use power in a negative way, we have to raise our children with love, which means we cannot hit our children. When we had the ceremony on Sunday, I asked people, and I'm not in the party any longer. I don't do party work, although that the work I do with children I consider very political work. But I cannot understand why anyone has to tell anybody you cannot take children. But apparently, this is something that we have to say. So what I want to leave with you, and Rupert was an example of somebody who took care of his son, and sometimes we'd have things to do, and Rupert had to take care of his son, and he made no apologies for that. He loved his children, he loved his son, he loved his daughter, he loved children, generally speaking. But what I want to say to everybody here, love your children, love other people's children. When you see people being mean or nasty or unkind to children, step forward. Don't just be a bystander. Don't just record it. Step forward and put a stop to it. But first start with your children, the children nearby to you, and do not hit them. I believe that a lot of the problems we see, not only in this country, but in the world, we are now by child sexual abusers, if you've been following what is happening generally. Just be good to children. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Dr. Hines, I'm seeking your guidance. We're supposed to be the program set up to 9. Anybody else wants to make a contribution? And then we can have the drummers and just mingle and just dance and so on and so on. All right. Thank you. I guess Dr. Hines will deliver the closing remarks. So,
yeah, just quickly to say thanks to everyone for coming out. I've been speaking about Rupert non-stop for the last 2 weeks. And so for me, this gathering and it is special. We in the WPA, we have phenomenal leaders. But as I said on Sunday, There was something about this Roopnaraine chap. You could be vexed with Rupert. You don't like what Rupert said, you don't like something. And you walk in the room to confront Rupert. Hi, Twilly. Come, we have to discuss this campaign. Story done. Story done. And in the same way, I think somebody said it here tonight. Rupert had a way of disagreeing with you without disrespecting you. He did it in almost a diplomatic way. And so, in the party, I think everyone warmed to Rupert. And I especially felt that I have a responsibility to lift up Rupert in this time of his parting. Partly because I have been tagged in recent times as an Africanist, a black person. And in our politics, sometimes that means if you like black, you don't like Indian and so forth. And I want to say that Rupert was my leader for decades. And I will serve under him again. You know, because as I said, there was something about him. Rupert would come in the office and say, Wazir, Chile, we have to flood the city with 10,000 flyers. And Wazir would say, Rupert, we have one ream of paper. And he would pick up his bag and he would leave. And the next hour or two, he comes back with 20 reams of paper. Raising resources for the party is something that we haven't talked about. People try to denigrate him, say he was too middle class. But if middle class was a bad thing, Rupert turned it into a good thing. He cleansed whatever badness you had with middle class. And so therefore, for me, Rupert is special. And his passing, although we knew it was coming, really came home in a real dramatic way. Because the ideal of national unity, when many of us were distracted, there's something about Roopnaraine in which he stayed focused. He never denied race, never. He acknowledged his racial identity, but he avoided the extremes. He avoided that manifestation where you can point at him and say, you're an Indian, you're an African, you're an Amerindian. There's something about him. He didn't have to say it. His posture, his demeanor was something that I think was special. It is not that others don't have it and didn't have it, but it came to Rupert in a way that it was almost natural. And in saluting him, I want to say Rupert was naturally talented, whether with ball in hand, spinning web around batsmen, because he was an able cricketer and could have gone on to play for Guyana and the West Indies if he wanted. Whether with microphone in hand, where he took language, the formal language, the language of the oppressed, and brought it together in a way that communicated clearly with those who felt aggrieved and oppressed. He was a wizard, whether with pen in hand, stringing and putting sentences together in prose and poetry. He was a genius. And I don't say that lightly, because we have produced so many geniuses in our small country. But Rupert's genius was a unique kind of genius. And I continue to say that I think as an African and someone who speaks out about Africa, I have a responsibility to lift Rupert Roopnaraine up when others are trying to tear him down. And I say here that We in Buxton, as you've heard tonight, in the African community, we are indebted to him. Because I think the test of one's multiracialism is not so much where you stand up for your own race. It's when you can feel the pain, when you can respect the other races. And I felt, as an African, Rupert respected me personally, and he respected African people. And I will continue to cherish that. And so, as we send home our brother, a heavy heart, we send him home knowing that he has left footprints in the sand of his time. He has left footprints on the political and intellectual landscape of this country. And we who are left, we must plant our feet in those footprints. Rupert Roopnaraine was, as his friend Martin Carter said, he was our kind eagle that soared and wheeled in flight. He was our sweeper of an ancient sky, our discoverer of new planets, southern stars. Together we all, were the world's open, I think we continue to be the hope of this world. And we must let Rupert go. But his work and his example, we must not let go. Tom asked for a little known poem by Martin Carter, Banner of the Revolution. I think I remember a few words of it. And I used to say it, Sister Bonita and others, remember, we always had poetry on the platform. Rupert and Quyan and others insisted, and Walter Rodney, that we had to have culture. And that task was left in the early days to Karen D'Souza and myself mainly. So we knew Martin Carter's poems of resistance from cover to cover. This is my hand for the revolution. That night, there will be thousands of torches. From the hospital, the lame will come. Those who are mad will stay for the revolution. Those who despair shall be happy for the revolution. And I myself shall be so fiercely happy that I'll make my shirt a banner for the revolution. Let's make Rupert Roopnaraine's shirt the everlasting banner for our ongoing revolution. Thank you for coming.
Rupert, I race for Rupert, Rupert. Hey, Rupert, I race for Rupert. I race for Rupert. Hey, Rupert, I race for Rupert, Rupert. Rupert, I race for Rupert, Rupert. I race. Hey, Rupert, I race for Rupert. Rupert, I race for Rupert.
R is for Rupert. R is for Rupert. Rupert, R is for Rupert. Thy glorious name shall never rust. Thou will not cover in the dust. The sons and daughters who are back. This event, you needed to sing this anthem. Come, this event, you needed to sing this anthem. Let her come. Let her come. Come, this event, come. Remember, she takes more, right? So the majority that's using. Come, Stephen. You are the founder of Buxton National Anthem. Please go and sing it here. Please go teach it. Yes, it's this event will be singing Buxton National Anthem. Please go ahead.
All right. In the tower, in the dust, Buxton, my native land, my glorious name shall never rust. Oh, Buxton, my native land, remember friendships, yes we must. The Buxton scarlet ship is rust. Long summers in the dust, in Buxton, my native I know me every boy and girl in Buxton, my native land. It's hard to breathe all day employed for Buxton, my native land. To add to our illustrious line of sons and daughters who are lives of the best that we may shine in Buxton, my own native land. To add to our illustrious line, sons and daughters who are lives of the best that we may shine for Buxton, my own native land.
Thank you.